Hey everybody, thanks for coming. Sorry we are 5 minutes a little bit late. We are gonna start right now, so we have enough time to go over all the content here. So thank you very much. We're really excited to be here. Our session is about what is infrastructure transformation and how it can help you succeed. Let me go over real quick who we are, who are we. So we are two Brazilian guys, as you can see. Myself, I'm at Cisco for almost 12 years now, working in first on post-sales, CX, then switched to the sales side of the house. Participating in a lot of events. I love being a speaker. And of course, as a good Brazilian, I'm a barbecue lover, as you guys can imagine. One additional thing, you look at my face and you see, oh, what the hell, this guy is a Japanese or Brazilian, right? I'm actually Brazilian. I was born in Brazil, but my grandparents, they came from Japan by the worldwide War II. And then, Renato, do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Sure. Hey guys, good morning. I hope you had a great Cisco Live experience so far, and also a great celebration last night, and also some coffee for the last morning. My name is Renato. I'm a cybersecurity solutions architect. I worked in Cisco since 2017. And as part of my roles in my team, I'm a visibility and segmentation SME. So Marcelo put there, he's a Brazilian barbecue lover. If he pays for the barbecue after this session, I will bring some beers. I'm a craft beer hunter. I love beer. I'm always looking for the new taste, new flavors. So I will do that for you guys. We got a deal?
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? I don't know who's going to pay, but okay, he's saying it's okay. It's
we
fine.
can expense that.
All right. All good. Okay, guys. So thanks, Renato. So let's move on. Just a quick reminder, as you may know at this time already, right? I'm pretty sure you know that by heart. We have our group for this session on Teams. So in case you have any questions, please, I will ask for you to paste it there. We are going to be monitoring that all day. And in regards to Q&A, I don't think we're going to have time, to be honest, because we're a little bit late on the schedule. I have a lot to cover. So my question to you guys, and I'll please ask you to put it there. And we are happy to address that later on or see a little bit late to talk about that if that's the case, okay? So with that, let me start with what we prepared for you today. So first, we're going to cover why this topic, right? Infrastructure transformation. Why is this so relevant on the market, right? Not only for Cisco, but for, in the market. And then right after, we are going to cover how Cisco is actually addressing that. And that's pretty much some little words you guys might know by heart as well, software-defined networking. We call it a journey because it is indeed a journey, right? For our customers, for ourselves. And the way we try to put it here is we put in 3 parts. So we go over a little bit of theory, a little bit of lab, because we know that sometimes labs, makes us more happy, let's put it that way, right? Than only going over text and PowerPoints, okay? So without further ado, let's do the following. One of the things I always love to start my presentations is with this picture, which is be different. What I mean with that, right? What I mean is, we try to put the presentation a different way, as a regular presentation you guys have seen all the week here, which is pretty much, let's build a story together. It's a storytelling, right? So what we want to do with you guys, and I need you guys to stick with me and follow the story we're going to build together. So what I want from you guys, I'll be super happy if at the end of the session, you guys are pretty clear on the concepts, and you can even, teach that for anybody that asks about what is this network transformation thing you're talking about, right? But of course, I don't mean, overcomplicate things. That's not the point, okay? So keep it simple, be different, but keep it simple, okay? So let's talk a little bit about some of the way we like to put it is, okay, how Cisco or how the market look at this infrastructure transformation in terms of needs, customer benchmark, and how did you guys come up with the idea of focusing on that topic, right? This chart, as you can see, it explains very well. If you look at the left side, there is a report Cisco runs every year, okay? And this is gonna point out some of the things. I'm not going to read, of course, all of that, but basically in summary, it is saying that digitization is a must for most of the companies, right? And it's also focusing on how the applications changed. For example, I can give you a quick example. After COVID, I'm pretty sure most of you start working a different way, right? From anywhere, right? It changed completely how it was. And with that, of course, it brought some challenges, right? As well as how the applications grow, how they were hosted in the cloud, on-prem, right? And how they communicate in between them. And that is not only talking about, for example, a device, a laptop. I'm talking about things now. We have cameras connected. We have everything connected, IoT, sensors, etc., right? And all of those things, they connect one to the other, and they change the needs. For example, today, a camera can be accessed from that group, but tomorrow, you need to give another access different. So this is the digitization path when it comes back to the applications. In the right side of the chart, what we did is we looked at the IDC poll that was run with the most of the top executives in the world, in the most global enterprise companies. And we asked them, okay, actually IDC asked them, okay, what are the main topic concerns that you're looking for investment, that you're looking for projects? And that is one of the actually results. We are looking here at things like, okay, simplifying the infrastructure. We are looking at things, for example, and securing our infrastructure, right? We're looking at things like making use of the generated data or the analytics. I'm pretty sure you guys saw out there some of the other sessions speaking a lot about insights, analytics, and that's pretty much some of the concerns we see. If I were to summarize, this is about, kind of a benchmark and looking at what the customers are telling us that they need and what the market is actually looking for. It's not only that. As I told you before, if you look at this slide, you see exactly what I mentioned. Working from anywhere is now a reality. And it brings a lot of challenges for the infrastructure to give the best connectivity for the best end user experience, right? Just put an additional little more detail on this. If you look at this chart, what you see there is all those connected things and devices, how they communicate in between. You see what I was just mentioning before. And if you think about, okay, this looks like static, right? But it's not. It can change from today for tomorrow. And it changes again. And my question to you guys is, think about your infrastructure in your companies. Think about how you guys manage that change in a daily basis today. That is the main question being asked. That's all about digitization that I was talking about. And of course, it brings some additional challenges, as you see listed there. So how can you provide a granular environment or a granular policy for those users, for those things? How can you keep protecting the users and the applications? And on top of that, how can you give the best performance for them? So then, here is how we see that, how Cisco sees that as a proposition in a still high level. Don't worry, I'll go a little bit deep in the next couple of slides, but in this slide, we created something called intent-based networking, or IBN. And intent-based networking, it leverages software-defined networking behind the scenes to make it all happen automatically. The way to read this slide is really easy. Okay, the network's supposed to look at your user needs and applications that they are using and readapting that in a very fast way. What I mean is, okay, if today I'm from group engineer and I have a bunch of applications that I have access to, but tomorrow, let's say I changed the needs. Now I need other applications. What it's supposed to happen is the IBN with the STN is going to readapt, and in the end of the day, give this new access and restrict the access that I don't need anymore. That's really fancy, right? Then you can maybe ask me, okay, show me how it works, right? Show me how it works in real life, because I love slides, but I like to see that working. And that's exactly the purpose of this session, okay? So don't worry. With that, how to implement that, or how to create a journey to get into what I just said. Everything working fine, working in a very dynamic way. So this is one thing we put together. We call it path to digitization. This is basically, if you look from the left to the right, you see different stages. And tied to those stages, what you see is different levels of automation, different levels of getting it up to the what we call intent-based networking, okay? So don't worry, if you look at that chart and you see, okay, maybe the company I'm working for, or I'm in charge of this part of the network, we are not that far. Maybe we're doing things manual still, right? No problem, no problem. There's no right or wrong here. The only thing here is that there is a journey, wherever you are, you can start looking at this and start planning. Okay, what is your target for this finishing this year? Maybe it's going to the software defined in the middle of the picture, or maybe I'm already there, so I want to go intent-based, whatever. What I mean is, for every situation, for every customer, there is no right or wrong. We can create that journey together, and Cisco can help you. For you guys not to be that worried, we conduct like a pool with our customers, and this is some of the responses, where they are now and where they plan to be in 2 years. Okay, so maybe with that might help a little bit, right? Not to be that worried, hopefully, but that was the idea. So what we're gonna do next? Okay, I showed you guys some of the benchmarks, some of the things that we saw, and why Cisco decided to go with the IBN. I spoke about Cisco's way of understanding and addressing that with IBN, SDN. But so far we have things in a high level. So what we are going to go through now is, okay, let's talk a little bit about this detailed SDN journey you spoke about. Okay, so first thing that comes to my mind. Look at this picture. I'm pretty sure, I don't know if you guys are very technical, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to put in context 3 categories: deployment, troubleshooting, automation, scalability. If you look at the chart in the left side, I'm pretty sure you may identify yourself, or you may have seen those kind of architectures, layer 2, layer 3, where I put the full gateway, where I do the routing, static routing, dynamic routing, if there is spanning tree, whatever, some kind of fancy words you may like, I'm assuming that. So if you look at the deployment point of view, how long does it take for you guys to deploy this kind of infrastructure? If you look at scalability, if you are about to expand some of the sites you have today, right? So is that easy to expand, or it gives you too much trouble? How about troubleshooting? Do you have the right tools to look at the insights, look what's going on? That's a question I leave to you guys. And what we are proposing with the SDN journey is what we call software-defined access, which the SDN fancy name Cisco put on that, just translating. Basically, what's the idea? Looking at deployment, troubleshooting, and scalability, this thing is gonna help you do everything automatically, or automagically, right? That we like to say. Let's go further on what is it. So this picture in the left side, you see, I would summarize that way. There are 3 pillars on the SDA. One is the DNA center, which is the main orchestrator. We have ICE, who takes care of the policies and everything you do in regards to security. And we have the fabric, which is in this blue cloud here, this dark blue cloud, okay? I'm gonna go a little bit deep on that as well, so don't worry. But just to summarize here, as you can see as well in the right side, this is gonna give you automatically deep visibility, helping with troubleshooting, group-based policy and segmentation to help you with the security, and addressing that need that I mentioned before on dynamic application change, right? And also the policy consistency throughout, giving you scalability. Then next question you guys may raise, and I'll do that for you, which is, okay, I understood the concept, but show me one example at least on how it works. So I'll show you. So look at the left side. you already saw this, right? Which is a crazy application communication, which changes every day. Now look at the right side. What is that? That is a snapshot from one screen of DNA Center. Renato is going to show you in a lab. Don't worry, in a minute. But basically the idea is, if you look, there is a source and destination. Yeah, I'm not pointing out, but I think there's not. But anyway, there's a source and destination. The way to look at that is, okay, who is the source? Is the auditors. Who is the destination? Is BYOD. What is that? Who is communicating with who? And what you do is you start managing all the policies and who is allowed or not allowed to communicate with by only looking at this graphical interface. You can click it there. It's going to open up a chart so you can specify, okay, what is the TCP communication allowed? What is the UDP not allowed? So on and so forth. You can pretty much customize very well. But I put this example because that shows you exactly what you're going to have in a daily basis, or what you're going to put to your operations team, to your architectural teams, to make it happen very quickly. Okay, enough with a little bit of concepts, how we address this. I went a little bit deep dive in some of the things, right? So you guys don't wait like 40 minutes to see something real. So I try to do that. So now what I'm going to show you is, okay, you may ask again, how this magic works or happen in the end of the day. So I'll need to go through some new concepts that are going to be used in a lab that Renato is going to show you in a minute. But from this part one on, we are going to have a little bit of theory and a little bit of lab, as I mentioned. So first of all, just a quick recap. What is STA? Three things: DNA Center integrated with ICE, communicating with the campus fabric. Campus fabric is all the equipment you may have, a switch across all multi-sites, all your campus networks. Okay, then translating that into the lab, and already speaking about what we have and what we're going to use for you guys here for the demonstration. So here we have our lab. So what we have is, we have in the left side the Cisco San Jose office and the Meraki office, San Francisco, okay? So what we did for the demonstration here is, we build up a fabric, which is in blue, okay? So how you do this? You just turn those switches into the DNA Center. We turn them into a fabric. There is a little configuration there. It's already prepared, okay, because of time. And we also have the ICE and DNA Center connected to those, okay? That's only regular IP communication, so nothing special on that, okay? An additional concept, okay? There is an underlay and overlay concept. What is underlay? It's exactly what we see in the market. It's a physical, I'm talking about a physical connection here. This is underlay. Okay, and what is overlay? Overlay, in the SDN world of Cisco, we call it virtual network, but it's not anything different than the market, which is how many virtual or logical networks we can create over the fabric. It means that we are using a physical infrastructure, and we are building on top of that different logical networks, right? To kind of segment, for example, team A from team B, etc., so on and so forth, okay? Okay, let's move to another concept, which is very important as well. When we move to STA, I told you before that we are not gonna worry anymore about where is the default gateway, layer 3, layer 2, etc. All of that, I told you, is gonna be automated, right? So what's the idea here? Why it happens like that? Because we change a little bit the way we identify the things, users, devices that connect to the network. So there's a big shift. Before, we used to consider, okay, what's your IP address? Which VLAN you are? Those kind of conversations. Now, it's different. It's who you are. So it moves to identity. So it doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't mean we're not using behind the scenes. DNA Center is actually orchestrating that and dynamically allocating IPs, VLANs, but you don't need to touch it anymore, and neither worry about that. So let's take a user, John, as an example, okay? So John He has some laptops, he has some devices, and he's part of a group finance, okay? Then John is part of group finance, but we also have, for example, Susan, who is part of group marketing. And we have a bunch of other users from engineer, okay? So what is important concept from this slide is, okay, as I mentioned before, the overlay networks are called virtual networks. In this case, I'm mentioning VN Campus, okay? Let's move on. Then, one crucial concept for us, for you guys to understand is, what is segmentation? I'm pretty sure you guys heard that in the market as well. For us, what is segmentation? It's a communication between different users, between different virtual networks. I can make a parallel to make it easy for you. Basically, think about your company. Let's call it company A, okay? I would call it, okay, company A, virtual network A, okay? Then let's call company B, virtual network B. Okay, that's more easy maybe for you to, if you're not that technical, to maybe kind of understand. And the basic or the full mode of this communication between different users, between different VNs or different companies is deny. And another parallel thinking here is, okay, think about company A normally has a different policies, security policies, at least at day zero, right? If you were to connect those companies, then company B. So that's why by default it is deny. But if you may ask me, okay, but can I customize it and make it like, for example, permit? Yes, you can do that. You can do whatever you want. Or you can even do permit with some restrictions on some kind of protocol communication. Last concept here, I promise. Microsegmentation. So what is microsegmentation? Microsegmentation is a communication between different users within the same virtual network. As you can see here, you see, for example, John and Susan, they are from different groups. But it also could be, John trying to talk to another finance user as well. And different from segmentation, we are now using the same parallel. We are now under the same company. In this case, we call it campus, but we could call it company A. So what I mean with that is, remember, same company, at least on day zero, same policy. So that's why the default mode is different here, is permit, okay? Can you change? Yes. As you can see there, there's a lot of different customizations, permitting or deny, okay? So now what I'm gonna do is use the concepts that I just introduced to you, because that was important. This is the magic on how we make it happen, okay? This is our secret. And how it is applied to our lab, okay? I want you guys to know, because we're gonna talk about that on the lab. So we have in our lab a campus VN, a guest VN with those groups inside, HR, account, and guest, okay? Just a quick recap. What is segmentation? In our lab, communication between different users, between different VNs. By default, it is deny, okay? And microsegmentation, communication between different users within the same VN. It could be inside the same group or different groups. By default, it is allowed, okay? Then, going back into our lab, what we see here is exactly the virtual networks campus and guests. We see the fabric, you see the ISDNA center, and on top of the fabric, I mentioned overlay, right? So what we're doing here is putting in context virtual networks or logical networks created over the same physical infrastructure or the underlay. Now, what's going to happen is Renato is going to guide you through those steps, at least to start identifying those topics and get more comfortable with the lab, as we're going to use that for the next steps. So with that, let's go, Renato.
All right. Now that we reviewed all the challenges and concepts about SDN, SDA, let's jump into the demo. So we are running a real lab here. This is a live demo, so we are really brave engineers. So let's keep our fingers crossed to have everything working fine. So I will start showing you how we build the topology for our network. So let's start reviewing the design for this network. So as we saw, we have a multi-site deployment. We have the Bay Area, and we have 2 different sites, San Francisco and San Jose, and we have all our devices grouped into those 2 sites. What's really good here is the fact that I can define some settings that will be deployed globally or regionally or for a specific site. So in this case, I have some settings defining what's the AAA server that I'm using here. So how I'm going to authenticate and authorize the users and devices connected to this network. I also have defined the IP address pools that I'm going to use for those specific sites, for those devices. So this is something that I will use together with my VN. So I have an IP address pool for the access points, for the campus virtual network, for the guest virtual network. So this is something that I'm defining for that site. And I also have the wireless settings. I have defined 2 different SSIDs, one for the campus network and another for the guest users. Now that we have defined our underlay, we're gonna start defining how we're gonna provision this network. And I'm going to show you the virtual networks. So this is where we start defining our intent for this network. So what I would like to build over the underlay that I just showed you guys. So we have a campus VN, we have a gas VN, and I am also using a infra VN for the network topology, okay? With that, I have defined the fabric sites. So we have San Jose, we have San Francisco, and then we define, okay, what I'm going to run over the San Jose site, so the San Jose fabric. I have my device here, but what I want to show you guys here is, again, the intent for this fabric. So I have defined how I'm going to authenticate, how I'm going to control the network access for this, this fabric that I have here. So I'm doing closed authentication, which means no one connects to the network without going through the authentication and authorization process. I also assigned the virtual networks for this fabric. I could do different things for my sites. In this case, I have the campus, I have the gas, I have defined the IP address pool that I'm using for the campus network. And I also define what are the SSIDs that I have inside this network. So I have the gas and I have the campus network. As you can see here, I defined the address pool for both SSIDs. All right, we have understand our underlay, our overlays. The last piece of information that I would like to show you guys here is the integration with ICE. ICE being our AAA server, but also the component of this deployment that will be enforcing authentication and authorization policies. So let's see how it works. I have defined the authentication and policy server. We've seen that before. We have the AAA server for our underlay, for our network, but there is something more I would like to show you here, is the fact that I have the integration with ICE for AAA, but I'm also using an ICE service called PXGrid. This is an ICE, the ICE service that we use to grab data, to import data and export data between DNA Center and ICE. So this is like a pub-sub service. So we have ICE publishing information for published data, and we have DNA Center collecting the data. And what we have here with this integration, the last piece of information that I would like to show you is our groups. So Marcelo present some groups to explain the concept of microsegmentation. So we already have our groups here, and I'm going to use those groups to build our policies. So we have gas, we have finance, we're gonna have HR, and all those user groups that we want to assign our users and our device. So now that we understand how this network is deployed, we can start working with segmentation and microsegmentation. Back to you. Yep.
Okay, no, thanks, Renato. So just a quick recap, and I think the most important message here that Renato was showing is, of course, first for you to identify yourself a little bit and get familiar with the lab we are going to use. So he showed a couple of the main things we spoke about, right? So eyes, DNA center, integration, also campus gas, virtual networks, groups, etc., right? But I think the main message here and the most important thing for us is think about how you automate your network today. Here, we are only speaking about 2 buildings, okay? So think about your reality. I'm pretty sure it's much bigger than that, okay? So it is also applicable for that, for sure. That's why I'm saying this. Think about your reality and how you automate things or you're not doing that right now. But remember of the SDN journey that I mentioned before as well, okay? So it's all possible with the Cisco's SDA. That's the main message here. So let's move on. Let's talk about segmentation now, which gets more interesting, right? So the idea now is, as you may see, we added 2 users in the left side, in the down left side in the picture. So you see one user is client 1. He's from the campus virtual network, and he's from the group HR, okay? The identity is HR1. The same as the second user, client 4, and he's from the virtual network guest, okay? And he's using wireless. The first one is wired, okay? So what Renato is gonna show now is, remember, what is the segmentation concept? Communication between different users, between different VNs. By default, it is denied. So Renato is going to show right now that we're not just using PowerPoint, and this really works, okay? So then with that, back to you, Renato.
Sure, so second demo out of 3. And I'm going to start this one from the same point that I finished the last one. So we saw we have all those groups, and we can build policies using those groups, right? But at this point, I have no policy controlling the traffic between those groups. In fact, I have a default policy permitting, allowing any traffic between those groups. What I would like to show you now is the segmentation we have in this network, not yet the micro-segmentation. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to authenticate 2 users, one in the San Jose client number 1, and I will use an account from the HR group. So I have the HR1 username, and I will refresh all my IP address information so you guys can understand what we have here. So now I got an IP address from that pool that we assigned for the campus VN on the San Jose site. Okay, let's test connectivity. I'll ping my gateway first. Okay, all good here. So I have connectivity with the client number 1 connected to the San Jose fabric within the campus VN. And now I'm going to the San Francisco site, client number 4, and I will connect a guest user. In this case, we have deployed an open hotspot, so I don't have a user account. I'm just putting all the guest users into the same group. and I will connect to the SSID. As you can see, I have available the campus SSID. This is the name that I use it, and the guest one. So let's connect to the guest SSID. I have the AUP web page. So open hotspot, I just need to accept. No need to share any user information. And now, refreshing my IP address details. I got a different subnet because the pool that I assigned for the guest VN on the San Francisco site is different. So I'm getting 100.98. Let's try to ping the gateway. We know we got connectivity because we loaded the web page for the hotspot, but now it's time to confirm if the segmentation is working. So I will try to ping, the user HR1. This is not working as expected because, as Marcelo said, we have, by default, no connectivity between the VNs, okay? Although we allow any communication inside a single VN. And I will finish this demonstration, show you what happened behind the scenes during the authentication and authorization process. So for the first time, I'm jumping into the Cisco Eyes dashboard. And I'm going to look at the session logs. We are using radios to authenticate and authorize the users. I'm going to filter for the sessions that I have. As you can see here, we have HR, and we also have the guest computer. As I said before, we don't have a user account, but we have the MAC address. And I can see here that the users got a different authorization profile. So for the HR1, we have a campus user authorization profile, and for the guest user, for the guest computer, we have a simple permit access authorization profile. One important thing here is the fact that we are not controlling communication between those users based on those authorization profile. This is the network, the way you build our network. We don't have communication between the VNs. In the next demo, we're gonna see how to use ICE constructs to have the communication control between our users. With that, back to you, Marcelo.
Okay, great. So let's move on for a quick recap. So guys, I think the message on this second demo is really easy. So look at your daily basis again. Think about two different categories. One is the person or the group who actually manages your network today. And all of that Renato was showing. How the question is, how does this guy or this person or this group handles all of this configuration, authentication, and all of that? Is that manual? Is that automatic? How are you guys doing today? This is one of the things that is crucial for us here as a message. So with the STA, it's pretty easy to make this happen in a scalable way, to deploy everything from one to two, 3 clicks, so really easy. And the other way I would like you to look at this is from the user experience perspective, right? So think about the user. Do you think they're gonna get happy if if they call you, oh, I need a change in my policy because now I need access to that server and it takes like forever? Even some companies, they don't even have a process for that. Some of the companies are like, okay, send a message to the security guy. The security guy, normally they don't talk too much to the networking guys, as you guys know, and all of that. So think about that kind of situation. What's going to be the user experience in the end of the day? And how about if this user is the CEO or is the executive in your company? how long is gonna take? So this is a very powerful message of doing things very easily, very quickly, only through a graphical interface. You don't need to go there and start configuring one by one as it used to be, or the legacy way. So that's the beauty of the solution. Okay. So let's move on for the last part, which is the most important and more interested by most of my customers and Renato's customers and everybody. So micro-segmentation. So we are going even deeper in the granularity now. So remember, what was micro-segmentation? Is the communication between different users within the same VN. In this case, we are using VN Campus. So we kept HR1, client 1 in the far left, as you can see. But we added more 2 users under the same virtual network. So client 2 in the group account as account 1, and client 3 in the same group HR as HR2. So Renato is going to show you now how this thing works and how that could be automated very easily from just like a few clicks. So Renato, back to you.
All right. Micro-segmentation is when the things really get fun. So I'm again looking at our policy. We still have no control between the users, the groups that we have here. And I'm going to connect 2 more users to my network. So I will start with another user connected to the client number 2, which is connected to the San Jose side. In this case, I will use a different group with the account number 1 user. So we have 2 different groups, HR1 and now account number 1, connected to the same site. Let me refresh my IP address information. So HR1 got an IP address from the same subnet that we have now, 100.100. If I try to ping him, I can do that. So I'm pinging the HR1 user, same VN, different groups. Now, let's jump into the other side. So now San Francisco, client number 3, and I will use another HR account. Could be the same one. The guy working from San Jose drives to San Francisco, connects his own computer to the network. Could be. No problem. So let's see what we get here. Oh, forgot to authenticate. That's cool. So we know it works. And now we have IP address, but same user, another user from the same HR group, but now we got a different subnet because we are connected to the other site. We are getting 100.102. But let's try our test here. I can ping my own gateway. Good. I have network connectivity. And I can ping HR1. All good here. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to repeat the same ping with the -T. So from account, I have connectivity from account 1 to the HR1 user, and I have connectivity from HR2 to the HR1 user. All good, all working fine as expected. So now I'm going to start building my policies. From the DNA center interface, what we gotta do, I'm going to block any communication from the account group to the HR group. So what I do here, I'm pushing a deny IP policy. So any IP traffic I'm going to block from account to the HR. And by the way, those policies are stateless. In this case, for the ping test, it's okay to build just one policy, but if I would like to have both sides control, both directions, I would need to create another rule from HR to account. That's fine. For this test, I can just push a single rule. But I will also create a second rule to control the traffic from HR to HR. So let's try to find HR here. And apply the same deny IP policy. What I'm doing here, I have lateral control inside a single group. They could be connected to the same switch, port number 1, port number 2. If you don't use the SDA protocols and everything, you would need to have like private VLAN to do something like that. I'm not doing that, just that simple, just setting a rule to control the traffic from HR to HR. Now, DNA Center use a deploy policy model. I need to push the policy to my switches. I'm doing that right now, and if I check the ping test that I have here, I can see that the traffic from HR2 to HR1 is already blocked, and also the traffic from account 1 to HR2 is already blocked. So now I have micro-segmentation, I have control over all the communication from one group to other group within the same group. Okay, now our policies have changed. We need to have access from HR to HR. There's some reason for that. Okay, let's do that. I will remove the policy that I pushed for the communication from HR to HR, and now I'm going to deploy the policy again, and if I check my ping test, it's that fast. It's working again. And that is the transformation that we were looking for. Back to you, Marcelo.
Yeah, no, so great. Let me see if it loads. Yeah.
Everything worked.
Yeah, man, I'm so happy now that everything worked, right? Now we are relieved. No, I'm just kidding, but yeah. No, believe us, we tested that very extensively, a lot of tests before Cisco releasing that solution, etc. It really works. And one of the things I'd like to call out here is, did you notice how much time Renato spent to apply the rules or to remove the rules? He did in only 1 or 2 communication, but think about that in a very scalable way on your companies. Thousands of users, thousands of devices, thousands of groups, different needs, different communications. So think about that for a moment and how easy it was. Behind the scenes, what's happening, of course, is once Renato hits the deploy button, it's going to be spread all over all the fabric, meaning that you need to turn your switches into an SDA fabric, and you get that. Easy as it is, right? So I'm pretty sure, or I expect you guys could understand what was the concept. Just a quick up, we start building up the concepts because that was needed, you know, the VNs, what is VN, what is segmentation, micro-segmentation. For us to be at this point, as I mentioned in the very beginning of the presentation, I wanted you guys to follow us because we wanted to build this story, right? And the story is exactly that. Until you get to this point, which is the top of our presentation, we wanted to give you some insights or some things and build a story. And I'm pretty sure I expect you guys actually to be ready to speak about your counterparts or inside your companies about this, because this is some of the things we're speaking like every day with our customers, because it makes the infrastructure being very easy to manage, very scalable, and very easy to even look at the security policies. Okay, so with that said, just a quick recap of what we covered in our session. So we introduced what is the reason why many of the companies, not only us and you guys, are looking at network transformation, and what are some of the challenges over that. Then what we did is we addressed how Cisco is doing that, or how Cisco looks at that. I explained to you guys the SDN journey with the SD access technology, and some of the KPIs and important things that I know you may get asked about your budgeting teams, let's put that way, which are one of the key topics is how to automate or orchestrate to better address the complexity. Because think about this, complexity is going to be there. It doesn't matter. It's going to be there. You need to solve it. The way that makes a difference is how you address that complexity. And with STA, with all these features and things, you'll be able to better handle and automate your network, or better orchestrate all of that. Okay. Second point, I think simplification. Remember the first slide, be different, but keep it simple. Okay, so simplification is also key for us. We don't want to make it complex, because of course there are many things we need to do on the technical side, looking at the architecture, that you may look at that and say, oh, that is complex, as I mentioned. But you can make it simple as well, okay, doing things different. Okay. And last but not least, of course, I'm pretty sure your operations team are going to be so happy when you see some of the features we did not cover here, because it was not the focus of this presentation. But if you look at the other presentations about DNA center automation, assurance, for example, that comes together with this architecture, by the way, is going to give you a lot of tools to make your troubleshooting or make your operations teams perform better, and with that, of course, get better SLAs. Okay. So I'd like to thank you guys very much. I know it's tough. I know it's cold outside a lot. We are also suffering with this. Okay. I know you guys, are coming from yesterday's celebration. Hopefully, you guys had a great time and be here with us so early. So we hope that that was of a great value to you. And we also ask you, please fill out the surveys, because that's very important for us to get feedback on how we can make it better, the session. Just put it there, what you guys liked, what you guys think you can improve. But we really ask you to fill out, because it's important for us on the session. And there's thousands of other contents, as you might know. Cisco Live ends today, but we have the on-demand library. You can check out the content there, the recorded session. This session is being recorded there as well, so you can recap or share with anybody. And that's it, right? Any final words, Senat, from you?
That's it. I think all good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Enjoy your time, and see you next Cisco Live.
See you guys. Have a great coming back. Thank you.